Tyson Foods are just closing plants down everywhere. And who would have thought in times like this that they'll close their plants down? But you can't put it past nobody. Now it's leaving a lot of people without a job. And it's just a crazy situation because in times like this, people need their job because the cost of living is just getting higher. Everything is going up. And this is something that people don't need right now. This is bad because just when you thought you had job security, you start to find out that it's a myth. Who would have ever thought this would happen? But times is crazy. Times is difficult. This world has changed. So in this video, let's see what's been going on with Tyson Foods. It's crazy out here.
I'm scared of losing the house. With the economy how it is, and the food prices, gas, then they come along unexpectedly. Life was here every day, good worker, 20 years old of sweat in her life and everything. It's a shame for what they did and how they did it. It's crazy.
For me, it just kind of reaffirms the fact that a lot of these companies seem to view people and their lives as just numbers. That they seem to think that, doesn't really affect them up top, but they don't seem to know they're basically just kind of ruining lives. Definitely should be people over corporations, but lately it just seems to be the other way around.
I know a few people here, been here for 40 years or whatever, and they got laid off and they're only getting 2 months of pay for your 40 years of work. So it's not right. We gave our whole life to them, I think the least they should do is, look out for their workers.
I'm really heartbroken right now.
Mary Del Lewis lives in Eagle Mountain and has worked at the Tyson Foods plant since it opened in 2021.
We thought we were gonna get a bonus because it's our 5-year anniversary.
Instead, she was told the plant will close in October and she'll be out of a job.
I needed money, to pay for everything.
Does anyone remember when Tyson announced it was closing its Lexington beef plant last November? Well, here we go again. Tyson announced last week that it's closing its beef plant in Jocelyn, Illinois, is closing its facility in Eagle Mountain, Utah, and looking to sell its beef plant in Pasco, Washington. And Tyson is claiming that this is about having too much processing capacity for the number of cattle we have right now, but there's a much bigger story here. Because when one of the biggest beef plants in the entire country closes plants, it doesn't affect just Tyson. It affects who has the power to buy cattle. Last fall, we saw prices take a hit after the Lexington announcement, and now we're watching the same thing happen again. It's true that the U.S. cattle herd is at one of its lowest points in roughly 75 years, so producers do have fewer cattle to sell. And if there are also fewer major buyers competing for those cattle, that changes the balance of power. And consumers aren't exactly in a position of power either. Beef prices are already high, and the companies processing the beef have an enormous amount of influence over what happens between the ranch and the grocery store. When a handful of companies control the majority of beef processing in this country, producers and consumers alike don't have a lot of leverage. And that's why I'd pay attention to these closures, because this is not just about Tyson closing plants. It's about who gets to control the U.S. beef market.
Now we know that Tyson is no good company. They don't care about us. If they care about us, the money they made, they can give us something to go help yourself before this is happened, People work there 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, even 5 years. They're supposed to get something better to make sure, feed their family, pay their housing, pay their bills. So that's not fair for the people. It's impact a lot of families because people already bought the houses here. They got a family, some people, wife and husband work the same company with their kids, so how are they gonna feed their families? And some people, their ages are almost retired, maybe 50, 60, they're close to retire. How are they gonna go find another job to work? You can see. Since COVID, we never get bonus. We work every year without no bonus, nothing. So that's not good. People work for you to make you rich, and you work on them to be poor. That's not good.
This is crazy what Tyson is doing to people Because at the end of the day, if you're working in any job field, you always got to prepare. This can happen anywhere. And it's sad because they had people that was working for 40 plus years that just got laid off. Now people don't know what to do. Some people scared of losing their house because they was working overtime. And I told y'all, a lot of people get things based off overtime. You can't base your life off of overtime. And job security is becoming a myth, as you can see. And that's why it's just crazy, because it's like, what's next? More and more layoffs. 3,200 people lost their job. And this is a bad time to be losing your job. But what can you do? And I know that's the sad part, because a lot of people are taking it personal. And like I always tell y'all, y'all can't take it personal. It's just business. You're just another number. If you were dealing with your job and it was taking a mental toll on you, there are some things you got to go back and evaluate in your life, because it shouldn't get to that point. And I know a lot of us, we be constantly working these jobs, not paying attention to what's going on in our lives. And we thinking the job is always going to be there. And we're so used to having guaranteed money, is what they call it. Jobs are not guaranteed also, as you can see. You see a lot of people that was upset in those videos because they don't know what to do. But the solution is to just always make sure you're good. Always try to figure out something else just in case your job lets you go. And some people like to live by that "we'll cross that bridge" motto when we get there. You got to stop doing that, because the time is now. You can't waste your time. You can't get too comfortable in a job. Just when you thought everything was good, you can be easily replaced. You can see. You see what's going on. And that's why I always want y'all to be prepared. Never get too comfortable, because your job can just disappear right from under you. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I know it's hard to not take it personal, because you've been working that job since forever. Now you got to start back at square one. And I know a lot of people like to say, well, at least I didn't quit. At least they laid me off or fired me or whatever. But at the end of the day, you still back at square one. So the lesson that needs to be learned is that never be scared to start all over. Even when you're comfortable. We really don't supposed to get comfortable. That's what they're teaching you. Never get comfortable, because anything can happen. And it's just a sad situation, because now they got to go find another job. And who knows? It may be difficult to find another job in this economy. You got to go through 3 and 4 interviews just for a job to call you back. And it shouldn't have to be this way. This world is just backwards. That's why you always got to prepare. Because if you don't, things like this can happen. And there's nothing you can do about it. So that's my take on this situation. Let me know how y'all feel about this one. Share it in the comments. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace.